Welcome in to Devine and the Dog here on America's Best Racing. I'm Megan Devine, joined by my co-host Chase Sessoms. We had the Preakness last week, of course, so we will talk about that. But we did want to, we're scheduled to come on every Wednesday, so we did just want to say that we're talking about a little bit before the show. Our thoughts and prayers are obviously with everybody down there in Texas and with all those children that lost their lives and the teachers and just all of it. So we are certainly thinking of it. And, it's a tough time to be, to be in this world right now. And it's terrifying, especially, I know you have kids, Chase, and
yes,
I myself, as we know, are pregnant. And so bringing a child into this world is a little terrifying. So we did want to acknowledge that at the top of the show.
Yep, absolutely. Thoughts and prayers to the people in Uvalde, Texas. It's just a terrible, terrible tragedy. So
yeah,
it's
absolutely. And it's always scary too. You think about any kind of big event and all of that. And like the Preakness, right? I mean, that's an event with so many people.
Right.
It's always kind of a security risk. Churchill Downs at the Derby is a security risk, but a school is, you don't really think of it there. So hopefully we can find a way to heal and to get better as a society or as a country.
Yep.
But we will talk about what was scheduled to be on the show here today. Preakness last weekend, a crazy time as always, right?
And, it great week of racing too. It was a particularly good Friday for someone here on Devine and the Dog, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I did pretty well. I mean, I cold capped the Black Eyed Susan, and if anybody caught me on the Horse Racing Happy Hour and ESPN Louisville, which I was on that Friday morning, we gave you a pick 5. I mean, it paid like $2,000 or so for a 50-cent minimum, so it wasn't the biggest score in the world, but it certainly was well worth it. So that was a pretty good one. I was pretty happy about that. There's not often that I'm like, no, this is the horse, and it's not, like the obvious choice, the favorite. And I just did not deviate from that whatsoever. And there you go. Yeah. Gotta love it. And you, how about that? Preakness day?
I had myself a pretty nice little Preakness. His Freakness went away to the mythical island where he just slaps a bass guitar fast and loose like some sort of delirious funky priest. A happy man. I had early voting. And if you caught me on the Sports Gambling Podcast, you got a little ice cold exacta. You got a really just adorably structured trifecta. It was just
there you go.
Fun.
We had the Black Eyed Susan Preakness double here on Devine and the Dog, so it's good.
Paid $101 too.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Yeah, that was a really interesting race. I was, as everybody knows, all in on Epicenter, and he breaks from the gate slowly, and then Joel Rosario just didn't hustle him up to be in a competitive spot, and then he got squeezed, and then he was just all over the place, and the horse had way too much to do, and he does not come from off the pace that far, so it was not the ideal trip. Brutal for him, but that's the way it goes sometimes, so it'll be interesting to see him in his future, but all congrats, obviously, to you and to early voting.
Thank you
for winning the second leg of the Triple Crown.
There's something that's bugging me about last weekend, though.
Okay.
Todd Schrupp on TVG kept singing the praises of something called Marshmello. I believe he's a DJ.
You don't know who that is?
Megan, what's a Marshmello?
I am like the least cool person I know. Like, not up to date on pop culture references at all. I don't even know. I mean, we went through this already, right? Like last week's show, you showed me a bunch of pictures of artists that would be there. I had no idea. This one I know. He is a DJ and he wears a helmet. I don't know what you would classify it as, right? Like mask helmet. I don't know. That is marshmallow shaped with a little like smiley face on it, essentially.
Is it a lot of kind of beat,
right. Not my jam, but like I am well aware of the marshmallow.
This
So
is a welcome turn of the tables here. I feel
yeah,
like
I am
I've been put
shocked.
in my place. I've been put in
Genuinely
my
shocked that
place.
you don't know who that is. You're way cooler than me. You should know these things.
Ah, you're very flattering, but I'm not sure if
I'm
that's
not
the
trying to be.
case.
Yeah. So glad I could help you out with that one. So
Thank you.
that's good. Come to me for all your pop culture references.
That's
I won't
right.
know what they are. Oh my gosh. Okay. So well, I'm glad that you were able to figure that out because I'm sure that that was really bugging you. And interesting to know that Todd there was a big fan of Marshmello. Now we know his music tastes. Speaking of other pop culture references, we got some people leaving Saturday Night Live. If you are a fan of the show, there, I personally think Kate McKinnon is like one of the more talented comedic actresses of this time, and so I will be very sad to see her go. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I think Kate McKinnon is absolutely hilarious. Like some of the funniest things I think have been on SNL
oh
in
my
the
god,
last I don't know 5. I don't know how long she's been on, but however long she's been
she like
on,
carries the show when she's
pretty
on.
much between
She's
her
amazing.
impressions and between the
Yeah,
different skits. Oh man, just
yeah.
the lady who's been abducted by aliens slash
Oh, that one's funny.
yeah
Yeah.
slash visited by angels that just always
Yes.
ends up getting the raw deal of the experience is pretty
Mhm.
hilarious. I think they did it like 3 times. And it was still funny.
Oh my
Still
gosh.
funny.
Every time they do it, you're like, this is the same thing. It's still good. 80 Bryant also leaving. She's got some stuff, some other projects that she's working on. And Pete Davidson, who I feel like is kind of your Saturday Night Live spirit animal. Like if I had to assign you a cast member, it would be probably him in his like nonchalant way of like, this is it. This is what you get. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean,
We're
it's you. It's
developing a
you
theme.
and your
Okay.
Arkansas t-shirt. Like you're just like, yeah, no, this is
There we go. I
that's
got
it.
Rupert with me, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Bingo.
absolutely. Yeah, so it'll be sad to see them go, of course. Which brings us to what's on TV. This is a segment we did a little while back because we're supposed to talk about, you know, fun pop culture stuff and things we do in our life, which is watching TV sometimes. What are you watching, Chase?
I've got a show on HBO that I am just
Okay.
series. It's called We Own This City. And so
Mm-hmm.
brace yourself. What's about to happen is what you don't like to happen at parties, which is someone is about to corner you and start talking to you about The Wire. So David Simon, who created The Wire, you know,
Uh-huh.
of Wire fame, this is his series, except this time instead of like dramatizations of things that happened in the past in like Baltimore with drug
Right.
dealers and
Right.
cops, this actually takes a look at some really like recent like police corruption things and police like federal cases and stuff, but it's from a
Okay.
very like The Wire style. And as someone who as you can tell by his appearance and his enthusiasm for this subject, is a huge fan of The Wire. It just
Mm-hmm.
hits the right spots. It's got all
Okay.
the weird, like Baltimore, like, you know, dialects with the O's and the T's and
Uh-huh.
everything. And yes, I can't get enough of it. Whatever it ends, I don't really want it to end, even though it's based on real things. I want them to go and do more real things and then make another season about it.
Okay, gotcha. I
Yeah.
mean, I myself am also currently into some reality television, which I am not usually. I don't watch like the Love is Blind or the whatever usually, but I haven't been feeling very well in these past couple weeks because I'm growing a human, and apparently that's like really hard. And so I have been doing a lot of like laying on the couch,
Binge
trying not to
watching for
die.
2.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of laundry, you know, trying to like get the house all together and things like that and recover from Derby. And what I have found is my productivity levels with folding laundry directly correlate to the level of trash of the TV show that I am watching.
Okay.
And therefore, I have started watching Selling Sunset, which is essentially the Real Housewives of Southern California, with combined with like real estate. So you've got the drama of like a bunch of ladies in one spot with like really expensive clothes and a lot of work done and things like that. And then you have just like $40 million houses, which, I mean, who doesn't want to look at those just for funsies anyways,
Sure.
right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, the bickering doesn't really do it for me in the way of like, doesn't help my headache and whatever, and not a fan of that aspect of it. But it has helped me fold a lot of laundry and feel like slightly better about myself as I lay there in pain. So
There you go. As long as someone just gets like irreversibly wine drunk and throws a drink in
oh
someone
yeah,
else's face, then yeah, then I
all
feel
of
like
that.
it's checking those
All
boxes.
of that is happening again. But if I'm watching like documentary, not trash TV, I'm not going to be folding any laundry. So this is what I have learned about myself in these past couple of weeks. So that's it. Back to horse racing. In the Belmont Stakes, the third leg of the Triple Crown, which is not next week, it'll be the week after that. We have heard that Preakness winner Early Voting will not be making the trip there to New York, at least to run in the Belmont Stakes. He will be training there. And Epicenter also out of the Belmont Stakes. They're like, nah, deuces, we're going to save it for the summer.
Sure.
So there's obviously big racing coming up in the summertime at Saratoga. The Travers is the likely goal for both of those horses. I don't believe Secret Oath is going to be in the Belmont Stakes, but I have heard that Nest, the second place finisher in the Kentucky Oaks, may possibly be going to the Belmont Stakes. So if you're looking for that, filly bet, then that's going to be your horse. So that'll be interesting if that happens. And apparently Rich Strike is going to the Belmont Stakes. So we'll see. The Kentucky Derby winner.
I feel like the two horses that really make sense and all the the ins and the defections that you mentioned is it totally makes sense that Early Voting isn't going to the Belmont. You can just look at that stretch run of Early Voting just kind of going all over the place, path to path, until that you don't think he can get the distance. And then Rich Strike, I think, very much can get the distance. So it makes sense. And I don't know. I don't begrudge Rich Strike for skipping the Preakness at all. Like everyone got worked up about it. I was just like, okay.
I begrudge him for like lucking out in the Derby, essentially.
Right.
So I'm not going to be betting Rich Strike in the Belmont, but that's just my own personal thing. So
I won't know who I'm betting until like the day before.
Yeah.
Maybe,
well, we don't
maybe
have that out yet. And obviously we're a couple weeks away. So we will talk about that, of course. Not our next show because we'll be off. Well, I guess our next show. We'll be off next week, but we will be on the next week, and that'll be just before the Belmont Stakes. So surely we will talk about that then. But this week we did want to talk about a turf race at Churchill Downs, which is brought to us, of course, by the Body Armor Betting Edge. And it is the Kirtana, which is a mile and a half on the turf for $160,000. And I love these like marathon turf races. And I feel like this particular race, I think it may have been graded as a grade 3 at one point, but it always draws a pretty competitive field. And sometimes these longer turf races, especially if you don't have like, a really consistent horse that is always winning at kind of these crazy distances, it can set itself up to be a pretty good betting race. So I love looking for events like this, but we don't have odds yet because it is, at least I don't, because it's still pretty early. Daily Racing Form did not have them out there, but who did you like in this one, Chase?
I feel like there's going to be a theme.
Okay.
I was on the 7, Temple City Terror. I thought that the horse could stay close enough to the pace that that it wouldn't let the race get too far away from it. It's a brand new turf surface at Churchill Downs. I think they had some weather come through, so it feels like a good off-pace race, plus it being at that distance. So I don't know. I mean, the horse that won it last year, it feels a little bit too easy, but that's the direction that I went.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, actually. I didn't think you were going to pick that one. I know. Look at us landed on the same horse. I am also with Temple City Terror for some of the reasons that you mentioned there. It seems like this is a horse who really does appreciate this type of a distance. They brought it a mile and 3/8, a mile and a half a couple times, which is the distance of this race. And I think she's just one of those that, well, first of all, she did win this race last year, so that certainly helps. But she's one of those that just really appreciates something being set up in front of her. She's obviously not going to have a ton of crazy speed to run at because this is a marathon race. So you don't often get like a speed duel of sorts. But I think the horse on the inside, Stand Tall, who could be a contender as well for that reason, being one of the only horses that does show early go, will probably set a healthy pace for her and undisturbed possibly from the outside too. But I mean, for the pure reason of like Adam Beskiza and Brendan Walsh are just doing so well together on the turf at Churchill Downs this meet. It's pretty crazy. I mean, the percentage says here for this meet is only 14%, but I would actually probably have to go look up what their percentage is together on the turf, because that's where I really feel like they have been super strong. So yeah, I'm going to take the 6-year-old daughter of Chapel City. Look at you and me agreeing on that.
Look at that. It's got to be a hit with Nate Dogg singing on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I mean, I think we're just spending too much time together. So
it's possible. Yeah. Maybe we need this week off coming up.
We do need this week off. We should probably end this right now and then just have the week off next week. So I just need some time.
Yeah, just out early whenever you got a vacation coming up at work. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, okay. Well, that's gonna be our feature race. That will be at Churchill Downs. It'll go as race number 10. Like we said, we will be off next week, but we will be back on June 8th to talk about all things horse racing and, well, whatever else we want to talk about here on Devine and the Dog. I'm Megan Devine. That's Chase Sessoms. This is America's Best Racing. We'll see you next time.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.